Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel where I will crochet it forward by sharing my cell phone cover pattern with you. He is Forky. I'm still on the Forky movement. My grandkids love this little guy. And what I've done is I've come up with a pattern very similar to my tablet cover in the sense that they have a cover and there's pockets in the back. Perfect for your earbuds. Even if you have a larger earbuds like this, like I do. They're great for keys, your house keys, and you can even put any kind of credit cards in here, ID, store cards, anything. They're perfect for it. Now, the pattern is very adjustable, and we'll go over that in the next frame here where I explain the materials that you're going to need. But yeah, this is a perfect gift for that teenager. If you got kids that are in love with that movie, and if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go see it. I'm not like endorsing it or anything like that. It's just such a very nice, cute movie, and I just encourage everyone to go see it. But it would be a perfect gift, and everybody going back to school and everything, that's even something to think about as well. So let's move forward and I will show you the materials you're going to need. Real quick, I just want to show you how your cell phone fits in here. I forgot to do that. So I have my earbuds in there. This is for my phone, and you just have the loop there, and there you go. Perfect. Very convenient, very cute, very different. Okay, so the materials you're going to need, I am using a number 3 worsted weight yarn for this whole project, and it's thinner. So if it's not coming out, not fitting, and you're using worsted weight number 4, that might be the reason. The 3 colors you definitely are going to need for Forky is white, turquoise, and red. I just went through my stash and then just grabbed whatever I could. You're going to need your tablet color, whatever colors you want, as long as they are in number 3. This pattern is wrote up for number 3 worsted weight. You're going to need some buttons, just one. You're going to need a glue gun for your eyes. You're going to need these plastic eyes. Now you can get these at any craft store, and they even sell them at the dollar stores now. You're going to need some scissors, some stick pins, a sewing needle, and you're going to need 2 hooks. This pattern is worked up in a 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, also known as a size G, but for a lot of our foundation chains, you'll want to grab a half a size bigger, the 4.5 millimeter, and then that just helps you with a cleaner back bump foundation chain. The first thing we do is take our half a size bigger crochet hook, and this is a 4.5, and make a slip knot and chain however many chains you need to measure from one side of your phone to the other. In my case, it's 13. So I'm going to take that half a size hook and set it aside, and then now what I'm going to do is just single crochet back to my first chain in the back bump or ridge only. Okay, and you don't want it to go past this, because we're going to make increases in the first round on the ends only, and that will make it fit to your phone. Once you've single crochet to your first chain, in my case it was 12, because I chained 13, and you always work back from the second chain from your hook. In that same first chain, we're going to make 2 more single crochets, and this is the only time you'll increase. 1, 2. If your work hasn't already moved upside down, go ahead and put it upside down. I am going to work my tail in and then continue to make a single crochet all the way back to your first single crochet. Once you're back to your first single crochet, go ahead and make 2 more in that same stitch, for an increase of 3 single crochets on each side. Now at this point you want to grab a stitch marker. I'm just going to use a piece of different colored yarn, and I'm going to go ahead, well, let's make our first stitch. So we're not going to, this is all one color, so we're just going to be working a continuous pattern, and we're going to make half double crochet. So go ahead and go into your first stitch, the next stitch, make your half double crochet, mark it with your stitch marker or your contrasting yarn. We've come to our increases from the previous round, and all we're going to do is make 1 half double crochet in each of those stitches. And obviously your work is going to turn or pivot to your right, and then continue on. I've reached my stitch marker, so I'm going to go ahead and make a half double crochet in the same stitch as my stitch marker, and now I'm going to move my stitch marker, and that's how you'll do the remaining rows. Just 1 half double crochet all the way around, and your work is going to turn up a little bit at the ends, which is completely normal. On occasion, take your cell phone and go ahead and fit it on this in your cell phone cover. Once you have the rows you need, and you can go ahead and again fit it on your phone. Everybody's going to be different because it's going to depend on what kind of yarn you use. There's so many different varieties of yarn. And do you see right here where it's just at the top? That single crochet row is going to finish it off for us really nice. So I'm back to my marker, and I'm going to go ahead, take out my stitch marker and make a single crochet right on top of that stitch. Put it back, I think I stitched one too many. And then go ahead and single crochet all the way across, just like you've been doing, all the way around the rim, and I'll meet you back here. Once you reach your first single crochet, or the stitch marker, I'm sorry, go ahead and slip stitch into that, fasten off, leaving room to sew in your end, and you can go ahead and sew in your end and grab your other color for your pocket. So I have the color of my pocket. I have chained the same amount of chains that I started here, which was 12, and now I'm just going to work in the back bump only to the very first chain. I have single crocheted back to my first chain, and that gave me 11, which is fine. You want to be sure that the first row of chains that you chain are a even number, because you're going to work back -1, which will give you an odd number, and you need an odd number to work your pocket, and I will tell you why later. So what we're going to do is 11 rounds, and this is how I like to do my sides. You don't have to, but I always pull up my hook, my loop, and then pull out my hook, and then turn my work and insert my hook from the side. It just gives you more even sides. So in that same chain, that very first chain, we're going to make a half double crochet. So your chain, your half double crochet rows might be 13, might be 15, might be 9. I'm just not sure, what yarn you're using or how long your chain is, but go ahead and make 11 more rows. After you finished your 11th row, the next thing we're going to do is half double crochet in the next 5. Excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in your 6th stitch or your middle, it's going to be, what you want to do is, because because we did an odd number, we want to minus 1 stitch for the middle, which in my case was 11 minus 1 is 10, so I want to be sure I have 5 stitches in between that middle stitch. In your middle stitch, you want to make 3 half double crochets. And what this does is it forms a little point, like on most pockets. Okay, and then in the next 5, or the remaining of your stitches, pocket stitches, you want to make the rest of your half double crochets, ensuring that you have an even number on each side of that middle stitch. Okay, and then fasten off. Now you want to be sure, now this is what I do, it's optional. I like to take the yarn and wrap it around my project maybe 2.5 times, just so I have enough for sewing, because I like to sew securely. There's nothing worse than thinking that you've left enough sewing, enough of a tail for sewing, and then come to find out you got to add another strand of yarn. All right, at this point you need to plug in your glue gun, because everything works up pretty fast after this. You want to have that glue gun hot and ready. So I grabbed my button, and you need to be sure that the needle that you're using fits through there to sew, which mine does. Decide which side you're going to have as your front and your back of your pocket, and then maybe in the 3rd row down, try to center it as much as possible. What I usually do is count the stitches 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and try to do it like that, and we're just going to sew our button on. I like to hang on to the tail in the back with my finger until I get a couple stitches on, and you can use the same color as your pocket color to sew this on, or you can use the cell phone cover. It's totally up to you. And then 2 times is secure for me. Then I generally turn it to the back, and then tie a knot, and then sew in my ends. Alright, so the next thing, I've already sewed in my ends. I'm going to go ahead and stick my phone in here so that I have something stopping me, so I'm not sewing right through the cover from the front to the back. And then you just want to position, you know, how close do you want your pocket up to the front. Just keep in mind the loop that we're going to do, the button loop, it's going to be longer, so you don't want it way down here at the bottom, unless you've made yourself a longer pocket, which is totally up to you. I think I'm going to go with that. And also, you could have fastened off here and then just started up here and gone around. That's crocheter's choice. But I just want to show you how, real quick, how we're going to stitch without making the stitches look so obvious. So what I'm doing is I'm fastening on these stitches right underneath the pocket. You don't want to go down here. That would be a no-no. You want to go right up under the stitches, so that when we tighten them, they're not going to be that noticeable. And I suggest making like 2 stitches in corners. I just always do that. Okay, and then again, right underneath the stitch, we're just going to go in and out. Trying to get this up in the camera where you can see it. In and out. I'll do one more with you. I'm just grabbing right underneath the orange. I'm grabbing right underneath the lime green or the mint green. Okay, and like right down here when you get into the 3 half double crochets, go ahead and make a stitch in each one. You can even go down further to give some emphasis on that peak, that pocket peak. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and finish this all the way around here, come up here, fasten off, and then come back over here and come down. Or sometimes what I like to do is just go make an extra stitch in and out over here, and then come back down. That's totally crocheter's choice. So this is what I meant when you get up here to the top. I've already crocheted 2 stitches right here in my corner, and what I'm going to do is just grab my pocket and just go in and out of stitches. Not real big because I don't want them sticking out and being obvious. Just to get to the other side. All it's doing is just giving another stitch of security. I'll make that pocket a little more sturdier. And turn your work. And then also I wanted to mention, be sure you're eyeballing which round you've joined over here, so you're joining. So like I joined in my, that's my single crochet row and my last 2 half double crochet rows, because we worked from the bottom up. So I'm in the second. I want to be sure that I'm starting that way on this round, and then go ahead and finish right there. Sew the rest of your work. To make our button loop, we want to grab our cover color yarn, and we're going to go ahead and use that half hook size bigger and make a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Now I'm just starting with 21, but what we want to do is make sure that our chain is going to be long enough, because we have to attach it. Oops, did I get out of frame there? We have to attach it up here. So I'm thinking that that's going to be good. And then all we're going to do now is grab our smaller hook, the 4.0 hook that we've been doing the pattern in, and then just go ahead and crochet, single crochet in the back bump of each chain all the way down. And I finished my last single crochet, and I've chained one. Now I'm about to fasten off. I want to just show you what I do with these little tails, because it always seems like you have like this from your chain, you always have like this little space right there. So what I like to do is just take this tail part and go in those stitches in the middle of those stitches. Not too tight, because we don't want to bunch it. You might have to turn your needle upside down and work it backwards, like I am. And then again, just work those stitches back and forth so it hides that space. And this is just optional. I just wanted to show you that. And then from here, I'm just going to work this stitch right here. And the next thing you want to do is fold the top of your phone cover. Now keep it in mind, we're going to sew the loop, the button loop, in the inside. Okay, so we're going to fold it down, find our middle stitches, because these are going to be right, and make sure that right next to each other, but make sure that your loop isn't twisted, crooked, and just eyeball it. You can count the stitches on the sides to make sure you're in the middle, but then the next thing you're going to do is just sew these two together very securely. So I just sewed in my end. Oops. And I kind of put my phone back here so that I could go in and out without having to go through the phone itself. So now let's put our phone in here, and this should be done as far as the cover goes. And then we can move on to the Forky pattern. There you go. Moving on to our Forky pattern. So we want to grab our bigger hook, the 4.5, and crochet chain 6, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull out our loop, grab our 4.0 hook or G. Going to single crochet in the back bump only. Oops. I think I had too much coffee today. I feel like I'm jittering here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whoops, was that the back bump? It was. So after you single crochet in the back bumper ridge to your first chain, it should give you 5 single crochets. I've made 9 more rows of 5 single crochets. Now what we want to do is increase on the ends only until we get to 15. So first and last stitch, I'm going to show you the increases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you're going to turn your work and then make in that 7th stitch 2 increases. So you're always starting with an increase and ending with an increase. 1, 2, and then so on. So it would be 7, 9, and you would go all the way up to 15 till you get 15 single crochets. So actually it's 5 rows of increases before you get to your single crochets. Just a heads up, be sure that you're crocheting your end stitches loosely so you can get back in there more easily for your increases. Now once you've reached your 15 single crochets, we are going to go ahead and make 8 more rows. So 8 more rows of single crochets, and I will meet you back. Once you've completed your 8 rows of single crochet, we're going to do 1 row of decreases, 1 on each end, for a total of 13 single crochets. So to do that, we're just going to go into our first stitch and our second stitch and yarn over and pull out through all 3 loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and in the last 2 we're going to do 2 together for the decrease. I know there's different ways of saying it. And that's our 13th. So now we need 2 more rows of 13 single crochets. After you've completed your second row of 13 single crochets, we are going to do our last row here before we do Forky's pokes or points. We're going to go ahead and crochet single crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in our 7th stitch we're going to do 2 together. 7, and then finish with single crochet. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're back down to an even number. Forky has 4 points right here, so we need to distribute the single crochets evenly. That means we're going to do 3 single crochets for each point, and then we're going to decrease until we have 1. So we're going to start out making, turn your work, 3 single crochets in a row, 2, 3, and you'll just rewind this or repeat this. We're going to turn our work, and now we're going to decrease in the last stitch. So that's 1 single crochet, and since there's only 3 stitches, we have to put these 2 together for 2. Okay, turn our work. Now we're going to do these two together. Make sure you're going through both loops throughout the whole project too. Okay, and then we're going to chain one and fasten off. And that's how you will make the rest of the points. So we're going to turn our work, make in the next 3 stitches 3 single crochets, turn your work, 1 single crochet, 2 together, turn your work, 2 single crochets together, and then chain 1. Alright, so after completing your pokes or points, this is how your work should be kind of looking. Should have a lot of tails. Decide which side you're going to have as your front side and go ahead and sew in your ends. Alright, after you've sewn in your ends, this is what your Forky should be looking like. So I grabbed my red yarn, and now we're making Forky's red eyebrow. I've chained 11 with my 4.5 hook. Now I'm going to grab my 4.0 hook and then just go ahead and single crochet back to my first chain in the back bumper ridge. Which will give me 10 single crochets. Okay, just a couple more. And this is 8. 9, 10, and then again we're just going to wrap our work around this a couple times. 1, 2, so we'll have enough for the ends. So for Forky's mouth, we're just going to chain 30 in your turquoise color, and then we're just going to smooth it out. Make sure that there's no kinks and it's straight, and we're just going to single crochet or slip stitch to the first one, not single crochet, slip, chain 1, and then just like we've been doing, go around your project 2.5 times, and then leave enough for sewing. Okay, so this is where the stick pens come in handy. Kind of just have to put his face together. This is the best way that I could do it, and just try to keep in mind Forky's features. Like he has the red eyebrow here is a little crooked, and then he's got a crooked mouth there. I can't find my little Forky. Anyway, and also use your glue gun here for the eyes. I put the eyes on last, so I'm not going to sew on camera because I'm sure everybody knows how to sew, but I sew the eyebrow first, then the mouth, and that gives me enough room to talk or to work with for his eyes. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back. Just want to show you Forky up close, just in case you guys aren't able to bring up a picture on Google or something. You can like pause this and look at it. Alright, so I have all my ends in. I've already sewn Forky on, and I've also glued his eyes to get eyes on the applique. So now I've pinned it to my cell phone holder. I have an old cell phone here that I'm just going to have in there, and we're just going to use the same concept, and we're just going to sew all the way around here in our white. When you get to the tip, you want to make 2 at least. If you feel like 3 is too much, but 3 stitches so those don't fold over, and then come back around, fasten off, and it should be done for you. Alright, there's our finished product. Like I said, here's the pocket for your ear buds. I just want to Thank everyone for watching. Please don't forget to comment, share, like, or even a thumbs up wouldn't hurt. I'm going to read my disclosure statement. I am not a professional videographer. I do not have a professional camera. I record from my tablet. I welcome constructive comments. I am a whip. Cruel and vicious comments will not be tolerated. I try really hard to get back on the comments, so I'd love to hear from you. My apologies if I was confusing. Please check the information box for further clarification or info. I appreciate everyone's patience, and together, let's continue to crochet it forward. Bye now.